All right, let's go through the morning markets. It's Tuesday. Let's see what we're working with here. All right, let's get into it. We got a highly volatile pre-market tape showing massive structural divergence between legacy tech and real-world assets. So it seems like retail is panic selling the semiconducting earnings miss out of Asia, and they're missing the heavy capital migration into some value sectors here. Looking at the currency board, we have Euro USD is looking incredibly heavy on the 4-hour time frame as messy French political headlines and ugly trade data keeps a tight lid on the euro. Let's check out US. Let's look at the JPY. Grinding through some tight consolidation after Japanese officials rejected claims that they're forcing BOJ to cut interest rates. And then JPY, British pound drifting sideways, up a little bit on low volume, basically waiting for the US macro data. And then let's check out strategy. We had a vertical squeeze right above the 100 psychological level, taking away the $100, the sub $100 bears in a single day. So that's the macro layout at the open. Let's go through our trades and see what we got into yesterday and what's going on. QNT is a kind of a mix of consolidator, news, and a high and tight. This had some news on social. Apparently they just had an IPO. I think Trump was pumping up. We did see some consolidation here, so we put a fill entry on that. Did see some sells come in at the top of that, but we'll just ride this out with a high stop and see what happens. Okay. XLV chart's looking pretty good. We had a high volume hammer yesterday. Sellers testing that, what is that, 160 area. Saw some bids, pushed it up. Pre-market is above. Stop remains to see if this continues. Microsoft up pre-market above the high. So we're definitely outside of our range. We're not far enough out to move our stop, but getting pretty close. We had an indecisive low volume candle yesterday, and pre-market's up considerably. So that's looking good. FTNT is a good consolidator. Looks like we're finally up pre-market. We're extremely close to our target. So it's 164 pre-market and our target's 165. So I'm hoping to close this today. We'll see where it goes. Let me make a note of that. CVS is back down a bit. Looks like we had a kind of average volume testing those lows from the recent consolidation, and then pre-market's up a bit. So this is a pretty tight play. We are seeing the consolidations happening. DAL saw some pullback yesterday, moderate, a little higher volume. So we're seeing higher volume. I expect to be stopped out on this today. We have a stop within the high of the breakout bar. I am willing to let this go. Definitely, this is going to be stopped out pretty soon. Okay. PVI, low volume, pre-market down. Okay, we are forming higher, lower lows though, so we'll see where this goes. We have a high stop on this. Yeah, low volume though at that bottom indecisive candle, so we'll see. Okay. LIN. Okay, so we had a moderate volume hammer. Sellers showed up. This looks good. Pre-market is up. I don't have a price target on this. We're pretty close to break even. I'm going to go ahead and move this stop. Just at break even. Just a bit. Okay. Okay. LIN. Okay, NTB. We had that huge candle on the 26th. Now price is drifting up higher past that, which I think is not a great sign. I'm going to move this just above break even. That's underneath that huge volume candle, underneath the previous low volume breakout. So technically I'm not super impressed with the low volume drifting up higher. I don't have a read on pre-market, but for NTB, I think we're gonna move the stop just to above break even to see how this plays out. This looks like it's a bank. Looking at the news, this news is extremely old, so that doesn't really help. So I think that's the play with NTB. Move it to break even, continue to see how this goes. If the low volume rising is a true sign of weakness, it's going to come back and slam down. I want to at least make a scratch. When was that large volume candle? 26. Okay. All right. FISI. All right. Moderate volume and decisive candle. We have a stop in a good place. I like this. CSX. CSX is up pre-market right at yesterday's open. This might continue out of this consolidating area, so that's pretty interesting. Wait, what kind of volume is that? Low volume, stop hunt, testing the previous day's high volume, indecisive candle. This is great. Okay. Monster. We've held Monster for a while now. We have a good stop on this. Yesterday was another kind of moderate low volume stop hunt. Lower low or higher lows here. So this is still a continuation. This is still looking good. We have a good stop in place. Yesterday I wasn't happy with that hammer or reverse hammer. What is that, an up thrust? But yes, or 2 days ago. But yesterday, it looks like it was testing the 30th stop. I like that. Okay. We definitely held this for a while, though. I don't want to choke this trade. It might go back down and test the 30th candle range again. I'm well within that body of the breakout. Right at the bottom of that, I think we're just going to keep that stop in place. And then PANW, we're up 52% on that. And then that's up pre-market. So that's up considerably. That's within yesterday's selling, high volume selling. I'm going to move this up just a touch. Just up slightly. pre-market within yesterday's range. That was a high volume. That could have been some selling. Okay. Let's look at the box scanner project. We've talked about this before, and pretty excited about this because yesterday, 2 of our positions closed. RTX at 8.3% and FBLA at 6.2%. And again, this was the box scanner project, where our custom vision model trains for setups. This was a classic consolidator. We got in at the high, and then we exited right where the box scanner told us. Yesterday was a high volume indecisive candle. I see pre-markets up. I expect this to be sold into and push back down, either for a continuation up to 211, or just totally sold into. That was a great close. And then FBLA, if you've been following along, you've seen me manage this. This was a textbook consolidation from April 8th to June 3rd. Breakout, test for support, breakout further, and we exited at a really good price. Pre-market is down considerably. We exited above target. So I'm not going to say this is perfect. We only had 3 positions. One exited at a loss. That was a scratch. The other 2 were wins. We have 2 open now, BARC and PCSC. I don't really go through these on the morning reviews because I don't need to really lay out trading journal notes for them, but we got in on this on BARC, and it's going to continue to consolidate. And then PCSC, we're down 6% on that, but this is another consolidator. We have a wide stop. Every day I keep thinking it's going to get stopped out, but it might, but we'll just see what happens. We're just running what the box scanner tells us and seeing how it goes. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for the market. Have a good one.